One. We are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the React Socratic dialogue. We learn about local variables. We learn about external libraries. Generally, training institutions or online courses are all about should. And, learning is more robotic. But how can learning be more philosophical? How can learning be more meaningful? If Socrates was alive, how would he take you through the Stack course? Probably we'll get to experience that over the next few minutes. We also have the Rajnikant with us to do his magic and to do Stack, the way Talaiva would do it. So hope you all will have some fun today. So let's start off the Socratic dialogue. Initially, let's go in with introductions. Who wants to go with your introduction first?
Hi, I am from Team C4 Code, myself Rajnikant, and I am a front-end developer in DT. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Pratibha and I am from research team and today my team is Team C for Code.
Hello everyone, my name is Dia and I'm from research and development team and today I'm in team C for Code.
Hello everyone. Hello everyone. My name is Krishna Vamshi. I am working as data engineer at Wisdom. So today my team is Team React Locals.
Hello everyone, I am Parigi and I am from Team Locals and I am a part of research and development at Google.
Yeah, good evening everyone. My name is Omkar Nikam and I am part of React Locals and I'm working in Unique Biotech as a data scientist.
Okay. Now the coaches can go in with introductions, I guess.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Myself Shawan. I am a software developer at DeepThought, and today I'm the coach for the team React Locals.
Hello, my name is Vinay Kumar. I'm software developer at Vishkarma. I'm a coach for teams C for Code.
Okay. So thank you everyone for your introductions. This is Tarun. I'm your moderator for the day and hope you have a great experience through these React concepts. So which team wants to pitch first?
We'll go first.
Okay, team C for Code. You have your 1 minute for your pitch.
I can't see the screen. Is it visible to everybody?
Not yet. I think it's still loading. Yeah. Okay, it's still loading again. I think he's just started the slideshow. In the meanwhile, you could talk, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, so our topic is external variables and we have used a special analogy for that. So you all must have played with Legos. Either you have seen somebody or you must have kids in your house who plays with Legos. So you buy the pre-made Lego pieces and build something fun from it, right? Now, before, imagine like you could only buy raw materials and had to make those basic pieces yourself before building anything. It sounds tiring and tedious. But with pre-made pieces, you can skip the hard part and just enjoy the building part. Similarly, developers also face the same issue when they are building softwares. So the external libraries are just like these Lego shops, which provide us with pre-built code pieces and help us skip writing basic functionalities from the scratch. It saves the time and allows us to focus on the unique part of our project.
So imagine that you are building a Lego house. You would want that to have a strong foundation, right? So that everyone that you have built on top does not collapse. Just like that, external libraries in React provide expert-made codes which are tried and tested to be reliable and stable. Now imagine you are working on a castle alone and stuck at a problem. Wouldn't it be great to have access to tips and tricks from someone who has already built that castle? Wouldn't it be great to have a friend who can share us their knowledge, help you solve problems, collaborate with you, and give you moral support and motivation?
So, hi everyone. Imagine you are on a super important mission and even a tiny mistake could mess it up. Would you want to learn from someone who knows nothing about the mission or from an expert who has already tested and perfected the best way to succeed? I think we all know the answer. Just like that, expert-made libraries can help our project grow in a better and faster way. Let's move to the next slide. So can you imagine a big, shiny red sword? Now let's say you want to build it, but wait, you don't have any red blocks. Would it be faster to paint each piece red or use a set of already red blocks? Just like that, would it be faster to create a carousel from scratch or use an already made carousel from React? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Team C for Code, for taking us through your Lego blocks and the philosophy of using external libraries. Over to Team React Locals for your questions. Team React Locals, you have a question?
Yeah. So just I want to know, like, as you mentioned, that external libraries can work as a friend, like who has some experience and who can deliver you the like goals or help you to achieve what you are doing. So how you are comparing a friend with an external library?
How are you comparing a friend with an external library? Over to your Team C for Code.
We are not comparing exactly external library to a friend, but external library is a place where you can reach out to communities, you can make posts, you can read other people's posts, you can ask for help. So in that way, you can ask other developers for any help.
Are you sure?
Not external libraries basically, but there are websites and forums who provide that kind of support for using
No, wait,
external
hold on a
libraries.
sec. There seems to be inconsistency here. Dia tells that external library is a place where you will ask questions. Do you stand by that?
She misspelled it,
No,
like misinformation, thoda, but
Okay.
that's what she meant.
So are you using an analogy where you compare external library with a friend? Are you doing that? But your last slide, which Rajnikant read out, seemed to suggest that you're comparing external library with a friend who's helping you, right?
Rajnikant, can you explain that part?
The last slide is about the React Slick. So React Slick is an external library that we use to create carousels. So what I'm trying to explain is in carousel, there are different parts, a navigation button, a card. So integrating, connecting them would be harder. So why not just get a carousel, pre-built carousel from React Slick? That would be faster and efficient.
Okay, so using React Slick, do you think you can compare that with asking your friend to build something? If your friend is an expert at it?
So at the friend part comes to the community and the forums part that we explained in the third or fourth
No,
slide.
community part is where you're asking them to give you suggestions. But if I'm saying that your friend builds it and gives it to you, because your slide mentioned that you'd go talk to an expert.
They also said that they will help you to understand that. So how then importing external library can help me to understand what is there?
So the expert part is that the already pre-written codes that are there, they have been tested and tried. So they are not prone to mistakes and bugs. But if you start from scratch, of course, to reach that expert level, you will have to go through hit and trial method, and you will face a lot of mistakes and bugs. So what we are trying to say is those external expertise libraries are basically giving us codes that are tested, and a lot of people has used them. We have the feedback as well, so it reduces the chance of risk and errors.
Okay.
Can I go with the next question?
Yeah.
As a beginner looking at the slide, what I'm understanding is if I have to create something, it's easier to use external libraries to do that. I don't need to do it from scratch. But as a beginner, is that the advice I should be taking? Or should I first learn how to do things from scratch and then start using external libraries? Or are you saying that there is no need for scratch knowledge and external libraries can, directly do the job for you?
So you don't use it to, if you don't know what to do and you are using external libraries, that's not what we're trying to say. Basically, we use external libraries for basic functionalities. For example, there's a house like in Delhi, there are plateaus, and the foundation of the house on which the house is built is same. we don't think about the foundation that much because it has been tried and tested. Okay, this foundation works in this kind of land.
I think it's no speeches, please. It's a Socratic dialogue. Keep your answer short.
All
So,
right.
as a beginner, what do? You focus only on assembling, or you also learn how to make the blocks? That's a question. Can you answer that?
Yes. So of course you need to have some knowledge before moving on to external libraries. If you don't know the basics, there is no point of using them. But the point is that if you know the basics and you want to save your time because this is something that you have already done, you use external
So
libraries.
can you
And
answer what do you do? What do you do?
yeah, you
You
focus on the,
focus on assembling, or you focus on learning the basics?
if you are using external libraries, you firstly focus on assembling. But before external library, of course, you should have some prior knowledge.
Okay. Back to you, Paridhi, for a counter question.
So you said that if it's something that I already know how to do, then to save my time, I should use external libraries. But if it is something that I already know how to do, it's something I've done already, why wouldn't I just, use that existing code? Why would I
Got your
need
question. Got your
external
question. Got your
libraries?
question. What do you, Pratibha?
So yeah, if you have a code for that already, you can use it. But if you don't have your own code for that and you need to start it from scratch, you know what it is, but you want to start it from scratch.
Got
So
your
in
answer,
order,
Pratibha. Got your answer. What do you, Paridhi, for a counter question?
So basically, if I just understand what a particular function does, I can just import it. I don't need to learn how to create it.
yeah, if you want to save your time, yes.
So is it only about saving the time?
No, there are multiple things. It helps you deal with the intricate details as well. You can use the expertise as well. It gives you to
Got it. Got it. Counter question.
What kind of expertise?
like we just said, they provide us with the code which has already been tested and tried. So you can use that. That reduces the chances of bugs. And also with that, the experts how they reach to that
Got
place,
it.
you
Got
can also.
got it. Counter question.
So as you mentioned that already, if I can import it the library, but how I am talking about the expertise, what change will be there if I use external libraries?
The mistakes and the bugs part. Of course, if they are on the external library, they have been tested. So that means they don't have those mistakes or bugs. But if you're
Got it.
starting from
Got it.
scratch,
Counter question.
You said that those external libraries have been created by people who have reached that level of experts, right, in creating their code. But if I'm only using their pre-created libraries, how would I reach that level
Got it.
unless I do
Answer. Answer. I hope the other team members also would answer. Yeah. That's probably not fair for the same person to be in the hot seat all the time. Yeah. Her question is,
Are you ask?
when will you ever reach that expert level if you're always using external libraries? That's the question. Yeah.
can I answer this?
Yeah, sure.
So basically, if you have the knowledge and you know these basic functionalities are common in all the softwares that I'm using, for that reason you use it. And now, like I said, foundation ke upar you have to make the building as well. That is your creative part, right? So for that, you will start that from scratch. So if you're working on your software to save that time so that you can actually work on something unique and learn something new, you use external library.
So I have a question. So if I am using that foundation of some external libraries, so do I need to know about that foundation before using it?
I didn't understand the question.
As you said that like we can use a foundation of other building to our building.
Vamsi, sorry, let me just intervene a bit. His question is, before using the library, do I have to know the foundation? Do I
Yes,
have to understand the foundation?
yes, of course.
Our
If
answer
you
is
are
yes. Back to you, Vamsi.
Like if I want to, like it would take like time to understand the external libraries, right? So if I want to save time and use external library, but at the same time, if I want to understand it, that would also takes time,
Got
right?
it. Got it, Vamsi. Back to you. Team C for code.
See, the topic you're mixing two topics, learning something for yourself and using external libraries for time efficiency are you can't compare the two things. Of course, I need
No, no,
to
no.
have
He's talking of saving time. It's the same thing. He's saying to understand the basics again, I'm spending time. Now, how will I save time there is his question.
So
So
once
let's
you have,
take this analogy, okay? Let's take this analogy that you want to cook something and you're going out and taking all the ingredients and then you're preparing the ingredients. Instead of that, you're going out and you're taking a pre-made kit. So now here, your time would go in reading the instruction of how to make that kit. But before, your time is going in all the preparation of the ingredients and then you're just like cooking. So the time saved is different, right?
But
and
yeah,
once, can I add something?
no, I think we'll take a question and come back. Yeah, Team React Locals, I thought it was a great response. Team React Locals, you have a counter question. She says the time, you're only spending time to understand, you're not spending time to create. So you significantly save time there.
I think again we're sort of coming back to my earlier question about, just doing it quickly and becoming an expert in doing it. So I am saving time, but again I'm using pre-existing, pre-made kits. So I'm never actually going to learn how to make those ingredients from scratch. So does
Yeah.
external library ever allow us to reach that level of having an expert knowledge in what we're doing?
Yeah. So if this is my first time and I'm developing a software, it can take me a number of hours. With each software that I'm developing, I'm gaining that expertise. Now I've reached to a point where this basic foundation I have learned completely. I don't have to waste time on that. So I'll use my external libraries to not waste time on that thing and move on to the better part, the creative part that I'm working
Okay.
on.
I think in the interest of time, I would like to bring a different question to close this. My question is for Team C for Code. If I don't understand the basics and I just use the libraries and start building stuff, and I build a lot of stuff over a period, am I giving myself chances to understand the basics better?
I would use the cooking analogy again. So if you are just using pre-made kits and you're just cooking, that doesn't mean that you are having a good understanding
But
of
what if
cooking itself.
I'm exploring the ingredients a little? Every time I cook, what if I'm exploring a little?
So, of course, when you have not reached to that expertise, you will explore. If you really want to learn something, you will invest your time
So
in that.
what's a good idea for me to go do a PhD in raw materials and then learn how to cook, or keep buying ingredients, keep cooking, explore a little, and then over a period of time end up knowing the ingredients really well?
I think
That
it's the second one because first one is like it might be a tedious process. It might make you lose motivation in the middle.
Exactly, and this is why more than 50% of students lose motivation while doing React courses. There's a huge gap between you practically seeing an outcome of your work. So instead, you use libraries, build something, get the satisfaction, get the happiness. Then the happiness will anyway make you investigate what's going underneath, right? Okay. So yeah, that was a great discussion. Now over to Team React Locals for your pitch.
Okay.
Yes, your screen is visible. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, good evening, everyone. So we are Team React Locals. So as we are locals in React, so we are named as a React Locals. So yeah, I will start with my pitch. So let's understand with the help of entertainment purpose. So let's understand there is a big playground. Okay, let's say there is a big playground. Different individuals are playing in the different playgrounds with a certain type of games. So that game areas, there are some big playground, there are some small game areas, and in a particular game area there are boxes. We call as a treasure boxes. So in that treasure boxes there are some toys. Okay. Now let's come back and let's understand with the help of technology how we are comparing this. So let's consider this React as a playground, and small areas or small game areas we can call it as a components. So let's zoom in and Paridhi will help you to zoom in and understand well.
Now that we've understood that React is the major playground and each area, game area in that ground is a particular component, now the treasure boxes and the toys within each area are the local variables. They are local because you can't take those toys out of that area. They are restricted to that particular area. Now, what they do is you use those local variables within that component, or you use those particular toys within that game area because they are designated for it. You don't use them in other components. And they enrich the component by providing you whatever functionalities you need and by allowing you to store whatever values you want to store in them.
So we are keeping the toys like scoped to that area only because if every toy get mixed up, that would bring some chaos. So in order to make things organized and a little less chaos, we are restricted the toys to that scope of the game area itself. So in conclusion, like the big area, the big playground is React, and the game areas are React components, and the toys in them are the local variables, which help us uh, like go have a unique, uniform user experience and nice user experience.
Okay, I have a question to ask you. Now you have a playground and you have areas which are your components. Now, if I am a contractor and there are various game designers, would your playground be better if you're taking my services as a contractor or if you don't take my services as a contractor?
Factor is different and game designers are different, or are they with
I'm
you?
the one who will buy the games from different contractors and give it to you, from different designers and give it to you. So Japanese designers will give you Japanese games. African designers will give you African games of different flavor. Indian designers will give you Chinese designers. Everybody has different styles of games that they make. And I'm a contractor who will buy all those games and give it to you. So would your playground be better with me or without me?
With you.
How? Okay, if I'm not in the picture, how would your playground be?
Everything would be done by one single person because we
No, like
might not be able to
there's
access
nobody
them.
bringing games. There's nobody bringing games. So what are the games going to be in your playground?
The same, like which were there. There will be
If I
no,
come in, what is happening?
there will be modification in the games, new toys and new components may enter.
And what is it from a React perspective? With the contractor and without contractor, what is it?
So are you comparing the contractor as a external libraries?
As an API.
API, okay.
So what's the difference? The web page.
The web page becomes more dynamic because now there is integration between front end and back end, right?
As in the experience is changing, right? The user who's
Yes.
playing your games is getting to do more things. Okay. Now, if I'm a contractor and I bring a game, do you want me to bring it like a toy, put a toy over there, and then go back and everybody wants to plays with the toy? Or do you want me to bring a designer who will talk to each person, play with each person and go back? What is better? If I come, leave the toy there and come back, or bring a person each time?
We bring a person each time to talk to the players.
To make them play.
No, leaving the toy would be better.
Okay. Now, let us say there is Vinay who comes to play and Vinay wants to play a certain game. Every time when Vinay wants, do I bring that game or do I keep that game in a shelf?
Keep the game in a shelf
Why?
so that he can access it himself whenever he needs.
And
So
there will
just
be no number of calls for the designers.
Now, let us say Diya runs a different playground where every time when the kid wants a game, she calls a contractor. What is the problem with that approach?
there is too much dependency.
Dependency, there is two things, like there will be more dependency and it will take more processing time to each time call and then do the thing. It will affect
Apart from that, let us say I'm willing to come. Let us say I'll come fast. Apart from that, what is the problem?
Will ruin the user experience for Dia who wants to play because she
Let us say
will
I
have
come
to.
very fast. I come very fast. I have a Lamborghini. I come very fast. Let's say.
cost.
Exactly. Cost, right? You have to pay for my Lamborghini also.
Yeah.
So it's increasing your cost. There's dependency and hurting
Bad
your-
user experience.
Exactly. So why are you having a local variable?
To minimize these issues, because the local variable wouldn't have to be called again and again. It would be a part of the
So
component.
do you bring one toy at once or?
No, all the toys, so that whoever needs whichever toy, they can take it.
So you have different consignments.
Yeah.
So in React language, what do you call this consignment? In what format are the things moving from front end and back end? What is the format? Team C for code, would you want to answer? What is the format in which your data is moving? Would you keep all your toys in boxes in an organized way and transport, or you will transport them in a loose way?
Organized one.
So that organized form of data in which you store it, what is it called?
Payload.
Huh?
Payload.
That
Transferring data from front end to back
correct,
end
correct. That's a
in
payload.
organized manner.
Correct. That payload is in what format? I can use another word, but if I give the other word, I'm giving the answer. In what format is a payload written down?
Is it JSON?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Object format.
Object format, object notation, not
Yes.
format. In the language of an object, you're writing it down.
Yeah.
So you don't get each toy at once. You don't get single data point at once. You get the bunch of data at once.
The form
So
of
that the
batches
contractor doesn't have to
come on
again
frequent
and
basis.
again.
Yeah.
So you're reducing the network calls. The contractor is like the network call. And when you reduce the network call, what's happening? Your performance is getting better, right?
Yes.
And user experience is also better. So why do we use local variables to make pages dynamic?
So we don't have to call
And is
much,
local
so much
variable like your
APIs.
shelf here?
Yes.
Yes. The objects will change, but the shelf will remain, like variable will remain.
Now, if I'm a game designer, sorry, if I'm the organizer of the playground, right? Do I have to deal with the contractor? No,
Not if you have shelves.
exactly, right? I'll just go pick it up from the shelf. So if I'm a front-end developer, do I have to deal with the API too much?
No.
Not
I
if you
only
have
deal with
local.
Exactly. I just declare a local variable and write my code with local variable. So whenever an API is ready, I'll ask the backend engineer, dump the JSON inside the
Local.
Local variable.
the entire data is getting dumped on the local variable, and I'm done on the front end. So this is how your front end developer's perspective becomes simple. How does a front end developer's perspective become simple?
As each time I did not want to call API calls. So just whenever I am ready, I will just call. Then
Now let us say you're a front end developer. Back end developer work is not over. API is not ready. How do you start working?
By using local variables, I can start working.
By using
When
mock
the
data in local variables.
Now let us say I'm a teacher in the playground or a coach in the playground. The contractor has not come. What do I do?
You can just take the toys from the shelf. You don't need to wait for the contractor.
Whatever is already available,
yeah,
I'll use
I
them
will
and
use
start
them.
organizing everything. And I'll make my I'll make my plans in such a way that once the shelf is full, I can execute the plan. I'll start training my coaches. I'll start training my students. I'll start doing other things so that once the toys come, everything else is. So if you're a front-end developer, before the API is ready, what do you do?
I will use the local variables which are already there.
I'll hard code. I'll put some dummy data there and start writing everything else. My entire planning, I'll finish it. And when the API is ready,
Then I
Just
will
change the data values in the local variable.
got it? So yeah, I think we can close the Socratic dialogue with some reflections. We'll probably close the room so everyone can join in for the reflections. So what are your reflections? What are the new insights that you grasp through this discussion?
the first insight was like as you give more and more examples which were brainstorming for us. First we were thinking only for terms of perspective of front end or only terms of playground. We were not thinking what if there is no import of toys, what will we do, or how we will manage the toys if there are no toys. Each time we have to depend on someone else to bring the toys. So that is what we came to know, like how it can be done. So we will make our playground better.
Okay. Anyone else?
For me, belonging to a non-tech background, it's easier to understand with analogies, real life examples, and like examples that even us from humanities background can understand. So if we can use those analogies, it's best to use them.
Okay, these are generic principles, but what new insights of React were you able to learn as a React plus Node, right? Since we also thought of backend. What new insights did you guys spot through the Socratic dialogue? Anyone? What insights did you spot through this?
We had talked about API earlier, and my understanding of it was just that it's used for connecting front end to back end. I had not really thought about how it relates to local variables. So that is something new that I learned about how local variables can reduce the usage of APIs because they can, sort of act as they can provide a way to store data locally so that we don't need to contact the backend again and again. So that is one insight. And another is that when framing analogies, it helps to complicate them further so that you can bring in more concepts. Like instead of just staying restricted to the playground and the toys, the idea of, thinking about where the toys are coming from, how they are coming, that actually helped us understand more about how other concepts also relate to local variables.
Yeah. I think rather than complicate, you're saying how to develop the model to capture more. Okay. Yeah, Daksh, please go ahead.
In the C for code, I was thinking about how much we should rely on external resources for our learning versus how much we should do ourselves. And in the React local, I was thinking about the importance of uniformity for different projects. Like you have different modules in a project, and how they need to be uniform for a good user experience.
Okay. Thank you, Daksh. Anyone else? What are the insights of React that you got through this discussion?
Another thing would be analogies and examples. So, for example, the Lego analogy was great, but maybe they could have supplemented it with the cooking analogy that Dia Ligita came up with to make things a little bit easier for us to understand.
Okay, you're thinking of more analogies for the concept.
Relatable and examples. So in the React group, they could have given an example of a basketball. So in the playground, there's a basketball, and in the scope of that in that ground, the scope contains a basketball, which is the local variable. So the local variable can only be used in the basketball court. If we take it outside, we try to bounce it on the ground, it will not work. The local variable is made thinking about the restrictions and things we want to achieve in that.
Okay, then my question is, what about a whistle? A whistle can be used on the basketball ground, can be used in the cricket ground, can be used in the football ground.
Yeah. So that would be a global variable.
Where would you use a global variable? Where would you use a local variable?
That can
yeah.
use multiple times.
Yeah, Vinay.
Yeah, global variable can be usable in another situations as well.
So why not use only global? Why use local?
Local variables are like inside the box, and global variables like outside the box. They can be used like everywhere.
Why both? Just use something which can be allowed everywhere. No, then you don't have to worry whether they're local or global. Why do you need local variables?
No, in some situations we need to only use it locally so that it works fine. Because like privately doing things.
Okay, you don't want data to leak out. Okay, for security, confidentiality, you don't want the data to go out. Okay, Daksh.
There's a saying, where you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So there are specific situations where you need a specialized tool to handle that situation. So for example, if I have a screwdriver, I can open all the screws, but if I have an Allen key, it's only useful for that particular situation.
I'm not
but
sure how you're relating it to this context. If I have a data point, why can't I make it global?
Because now it's not about the data point, it's about the variable, right? Because variable is used in a specific environment for a specific situation.
Okay, wait. Yeah. After this, I would love to get Shavan in. I think everybody is talking, but I'm sure Shavan has a different answer. Yeah, we'll hear Gayatri and Vinay, and then Shavan will come in. Yeah, Gayatri, go ahead.
Local variables are like we have something customized very. So if we can use customize something, then why to use something which is very generic?
Okay. Yeah, Vinay.
So in global variables, if we change in globally, it will reflect in all other components. So, but if you don't want to change in all other components, but you want to keep in one component and to be different on another component to be different, then where local variables are helpful.
Okay. Thank you, Vinay. Over to you, Paridhi.
Yeah, same thing. If something is a global variable, then any change we make there, it would reflect in every place where that variable has been used. And that might not be something that we want. So taking the example of a light switch, for example, each room has its own light switches. But if there is, let's say, a common light switch, if you turn it off, all lights go off. If you turn it on, all lights go on. That wouldn't really serve the purpose because each room will have its differing requirements.
Okay, Daksh.
In terms of scoring, let's assume the playground has different sports. In terms of scoring, that's a global variable. So let's say we've set it to increment by 1. That works for football, that works for most sports, but that does not work for basketball, that does not work for tennis. So for specialized situations, we need special
Or
solutions.
if you use your same example, if score is a global variable, I change the score in the basketball match, even the cricket score will change.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Omkar.
Yeah, just I was considering the example of Paridhi. Like she said that we can't use one switch for all. Like now, let's say suppose I want two rooms to be connected for one switch and the other to be separated. So what logic or what can I do for this?
Okay, interesting. I think you guys gave different answers, but you missed one very, very important concept. In fact, if you declare a lot of global variables, your senior engineer will get very angry, will get mad at you. I think that point you guys did not bring it up. I think Shavan would want to speak about it and may have other points also. Over to you, Shavan.
I think everybody already touched upon the point, right? Like, what is global variable, right? So it is as simple as, see, in your school's assembly ground, right? There might be a lot of Vinays. So you just call the name Vinay, and a lot of people can actually raise their hand. Versus having a person named Vinay at just your class, right? So that is more local to you, right? So you can just call him by the name, and only he is going to respond, right? So I think that's how this variables actually plays it, right? That is one difference. And talking about global variables, we don't much change the global variables, right? So they are more like a guidance to us. that these are some static values, right? Based on this, I mean, I want to do some certain things, right? So generally, we don't change too much the global variables, but local variables, right? As they are more local to our, I mean, our personal work area or in your context, the box, right? So, I mean, they are more specific to say one area where we get the freedom of say, I mean, working with them or like changing them continuously.
Okay. Hey, Shavan, I think one important point to be touched upon is what happens if you declare too many global variables?
Performance.
Exactly. Why? Why will the performance?
Because if we are using one particular component, those variables will be used. But if we declare all global variables, all global variables has to run.
So
So
basically, I mean,
cause.
the memory allocated will never be cleared, right? But for local variables, they get cleared after the thing is done.
Yeah. So, and Shavan, in case you're making an iOS app, would this be even more critical?
I think yes.
You remember the interviews which we were doing for iOS app where these questions were becoming critical?
Yeah.
Because memory management, I think, is super important, right? I mean, I remember Mr. Rajendra, he was especially concerned about memory management while hiring developers for his iOS team.
Yes.
So see, imagine the example that Shavan gave, right? Vinay, local variable. If I'm remembering a name within my class, who is supposed to remember that name? Only the people?
In that class.
Right. But if I have to remember the name of a principal or say a PT in charge and all of that, who has to remember?
Whole college.
If you have too many global variables, what happens to the burden on the students?
They will have to remember everything. Like,
so you get it? Your application will have to store a lot of information if you use too many global variables. That's why in memory management, I think it's very important that if it's not needed everywhere, let's declare it as a local variable. And also to kill that memory when it's not needed. Right? You want a variable which will live only inside the function. The function will start, function ends, kill it. Need not stay anymore. Okay. Thank you all for participating. I'd like to conclude this. I mean, we'll have reflections and like before that, concluded at 2 points. Point 1. See, this might appear like a general conversation, but no, I think 2 very important concepts came out today. And trust me, a lot of trained candidates struggle with these concepts. Concept number 1 is memory management. One problem which a lot of companies have with freshers is freshers don't seem to understand memory management. Memory management is a very critical concept, because if you build a application that's not good enough, you want the application's performance to be optimized. So one question to think about when you talk of variables is, how are you managing your memory? Is your variable getting killed at the right time? What will happen if your variable is not getting killed at the right time?
It will consume unnecessary memory space.
Exactly. You end up using more memory and the performance goes down. So this is one critical concept to think about, right? Memory management. And another concept which I think a lot of freshers don't understand. And I think yesterday, if you talk to Saubik Banerjee of Vishkarma, he would tell you he had issues with one fresher and we had to let go that fresher. We had to let go somebody who was your teammate. We had to ask him to leave because he could not learn this. What is it? We don't reinvent the wheel. If there is a function which is already available, we try and use that function because, see, there's an entire process before you get to something which is ready to use. You write the code, you use it, you test it multiple times, you run it in various scenarios, you get complete confidence, then you feel like, okay, this is something I would use. Now, what is the advantage when you use an external library? It has already gone through that process of testing in so many levels. So I don't have to go and take it through that entire life cycle of testing. So the problem with this particular person whom we had to let go was He was adamant that he has his own logic, and he felt that his team leader was forcing him to follow him. He felt like his organization is not giving him creativity. He felt like his creativity was being killed. Sometimes with freshers, that misunderstanding comes, right? You feel like I want to do everything on my own, but it's important to understand why we have careful processes when you're writing something at scale. Am I making sense? When you're building something for scale, you try to use external libraries because you don't want to take a chance. But if you don't want to take a chance, a lot of testing has to happen beforehand. So that's why what is one fundamental concept for developers? If something already exists,
Don't
Try
do
to
it.
use it.
why?
If it exists already, it has been gone through
What
multiple
is the major
testings.
cost? What is the major cost? Is the major cost the cost of developing it?
No, the
You
major
have to
cost
take
will be
in
time.
Yeah.
No, that's what the time that goes into developing it,
No, the time that goes into testing it.
testing and refining it, the amount of detail and nuance which you have to bring into it. Because every time you test, you improve the format, right? Like you see, we are using a Socratic dialogue format. The Science Session NGO has been doing it for last 13 years. So it's a highly improved format. That improvement takes a lot of time. Testing and improvement. Yeah, Omkar.
Like, just want to ask, like, if you are using external libraries, can it affect the uniform user experience?
It can. It can. But again, if you look at React, right, you declare your components. So while you're declaring your components, the way you design your components, I think if you get that right, then your uniform user experience is intact, right? I mean, there again, you want to be smart in what external libraries you're going to use. And if you want to make some tweaks around that external library to get control, sometimes Omkar, we make our own thing. When we know it's not meeting our objective, we make it on our own. When we know it's not meeting our objective. But when you know there's something which is already meeting your objective, it's a no-brainer. See, please understand one thing. If you're an innovator, right? If there are 10 things you'll do, 8 things will be run of the mill. So if they're run of the mill, what do we do?
Import it.
Copy, paste, reuse, import, and focus your innovation only on the
2 things.
What if you're innovating 10 things?
No one will get innovated.
Nothing will succeed.
Yeah.
Will successfully fail all the 10 things. So what is one secret formula for innovators? If there are 10 things you're doing,
Focus on 2 and try to reuse 8.
focus on 2 where you really want to get that innovation right. And the other 8, yeah.
Secret formula or a heuristic?
Heuristic. The secret formula is a heuristic. Right? So the heuristic is try not to go thin spread. Because that innovation is going to take a lot of energy, lot of testing, lot of improvement. In a way, all these external libraries are somebody else's innovation. They went through this entire process to give that to you. So now you are going through an entire process. You may not give it to people, but yeah, you're going through an entire process. So I'm glad we could have this discussion. 2 major concepts which came out. One concept is memory management. Not just for developers, even data scientists, right? The way you handle information, I think, is important. Even for non-developers, content writers, the way you handle information, you would want to kill information or put it in some cold storage and not bring it immediately. Because there's RAM and ROM. RAM is active memory. ROM is other memory. You bring everything into RAM, your performance will go down. Right? And what is the second concept?
Don't reinvent the wheel.
Unless you need that customization there. Yeah. We'll take maybe 3 reflections and then close. Who wants to go in with a reflection? Come on, people who are taking the initiative. Yeah, Paridhi, please go ahead.
So in terms of reflections, I learned a lot of tech related stuff today, and it did not, feel particularly tech related. Like the way we talked about them, they were mostly just general principles which you can use anywhere. I think the basic ideas of managing memory and focusing your attention on what is required and streamlining processes so that back and forth is reduced as much as possible. I think those are principles that can apply in any field, in any type of work, even in personal life. So that is something that I would be taking away and, trying to implement to streamline things better. And I think another thing is that tech is not as boring as I thought it is. It's somewhat interesting. So I might explore it more in my free time. So yeah, that is something I'm looking forward to.
Okay, we've got some psychology people interested in technology. We've got something right. So, you know what, Paridhi? Technology is nothing but it's an MBA of instructions and data. If you're a developer, you're managing data, you're managing instructions. Just that it's probably a little easier than actual management because you're not dealing with people, you're dealing with a computer which complies quite well. With people, yeah, there's oscillation, there's fluctuation. You've got to figure out how you deal with it. So that's why I think if you're a good developer, you might actually be able to carry those principles into life because you know how to do things in a very organized way. Technology is usually very organized. Yeah, Soumitra.
So what I'll be taking away is that the quote you mentioned, that if you know block building, we can move to the assembling. And on that external libraries discussion, which what I get is that we don't always move to 0 to 100. We can always get a head start from 100. And if we know already what 0 to 100, there is no point doing it again and again. And then again, I really like this: don't reinvent the wheel until the something you need is not fulfilling the. That's it.
Yeah.
These things I like to take away with the memory management, which is great. Thank you.
Yeah, kill your variables, right? When not needed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kill
okay,
the
Daksh. Yeah, Daksh.
I really enjoyed how we can use these computer science concepts in a real life because we would not think about these concepts in real life. But now that we are working on it, we're thinking it, now we can deploy it in real life as well.
Yeah, thank you, Daksh. Yeah. What do you, Dia?
So for me, it's not exactly that much tech related, but there was a question, right? Like, if you are using external libraries, then you are taking help from outside and you are not learning how to build from scratch. So that just made me think that sometimes we just put too much pressure on ourselves or put ourselves on a pedestal that I have to achieve this. And in the process of putting yourself in that pedestal, you might go through some tedious processes that would just demotivate you, but you would still deny to take help from others, even if that is actually helping you grow, but you are not seeing that that help is helping you grow, like in your growth journey. So that is something that is relatable to me also. So that's something that I was thinking about.
Exactly. How can you have that step-by-step path as opposed to a big jump? Right? One step at a time as opposed to a big jump. Yeah. Thank you, Dia. What do you, Dinesh?
Yeah, actually, I would like to take away those real world examples because the creativity is so high. Actually, I like that creativity because it's not so comparable with that Lego pieces and React external libraries and local variables and the toys things in a box. Yeah, I really like that. And another thing is like really like means I know actually what is this like local variables and React things, but by this I get to know that more things like why we are using local variables efficiently and global variables. So what you have said, like it's about memory management. Memory wastage leads to uh, performance impact, right? Yeah, I really like that. Thank you.
Glad you liked it, Dinesh. Thank you. Over to you, Nitya.
Yeah, I think connecting the technologies to real life helps us to not only analyze the code, it will helps us to keep in the mind for a longer time, so that we won't forget the code and also won't it be boring. And if we connect it to the real life, like we will be interactive with the code and we'll be enjoying the code much more better.
Exactly. You'll have that power over the code, Nitya. You'll be able to work with it. You'll be able to do a lot of things with it.
Yeah, even if we get like bugs, we won't be bored if we connect the dots and try to resolve it.
Exactly. You'll not find it like a complex animal. You'll find it to be a more friendly thing that you can work with and fix your stuff. Yes, Amitra.
I'd really like to give the credit to that example, the kitchen one, where the Dia told, right, the time which you spend on understanding is the only time which you spend, right? But yeah, that example was really great, and that's it.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, everyone, for the beautiful reflections that you've shared. And I hope going forward next week, you guys would use these analogies. You make these comparisons so that whatever you're learning in your projects, you're able to see them in a simple way. I think I'll go back to the first reflection. If it appears technical, it is not technology. If things appear technical to you, you're not an engineer, you're a technician. If things appear technical to you, you're not a engineer, you're a technician, you're a carpenter, you're a plumber, you're whatever, but you're not an engineer, right? So Omkar Nikam is giggling. At one point, he would say that I'm a carpenter. And then he said, okay, I'm not a carpenter anymore, I'm an architect now. So what am I saying? If things appear technical to you, you're only a technician. But if the technical stuff, you can simplify it for everyone, you're an engineer because you know your power over it. You can modify it in so many ways and use it in so many ways and solve problems. Right? So do write your gratitude by Monday, 9 o'clock. Do write your gratitude by Monday, 9 o'clock with whatever takeaways you got. Right? And in case you have some challenges in how to write a gratitude, give me a buzz on WhatsApp. I'll send you a short voice note on how you can write a good gratitude. Trust me, these gratitudes can change your outlook of how you take this learning into your projects. Right? On that note, have a great weekend. Thanks a lot for joining in. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Tarun. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Tarun. Good night. It's a great talk, actually.